YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly, and we're going to start this off with a hot one, super spicy, heroes at the bottom. Grand Magus is here, and he is top tier. Are you ready for the real Jaden? By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these videos, and with that said, Hajime. All right, this is going to be nuts. Magus, show me the good stuff. We have our clean 40-card deck, despite having to add in an extra copy of Destiny Fusion, a third copy of Malicious. How did you make this work? How are you not at over 40 cards? Let's find out.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
We're going second, but we do have Maxi, but they do have an Ash to negate the Maxi, unfortunately. As we summon our Link Karibo, we're now going to use the Snake-Eyed Diablo-Star to equip the Poplar, summoning itself in the back row as the Ash now negates. You have double special summon effect activation negates. We also have the Masquerena, which will be able to double link off into a Little Knight Banish, or it could go into an Apollo USA for even more disruption. So it's 2 to 4 extra disruption with the Masquerena in addition to the Wave King Caesar, plus we have the Promethean Princess. So this is 5 to 7 disruption. And let's clarify on this. If you activate the effect of a Spell and Trap card, it does not negate. Only the card, Spell and Trap card, or a monster effect. The effect and card is describing what type of card and what type of effect it can negate. All right, let's go. 5 to 7 disrupt as the Stratos searches for an Honest Neo straight to the battle phase. Boost! Taking out the Wave King Caesar. And just like that, we're now at 3 to 5 disruption. Holy moly. Vision Hero Ferris is going to say goodbye to the Shadow Mist as the Flameburge will, in response, reborn the Masquerena from our back row, getting ready to potentially go into a Little Knight or an Apollo USA. Ferris on summon activating. In addition to that, we have the Shadow Mist triggering to search our deck for a hero. We got Plasma ready with 3 bodies in the field to summon to immediately negate cards like the Masquerena. But the Plasma will die to the Promethean Princess. We have to be careful about that. As you summon a Vian from the deck to the effect of the increase, Vian is activating to send from the deck to the grave as the Masquerena pops off into the Little Knight. Little Knight on summon, ready to banish a card on the field or in grave. We're going to be banishing that Liquid Soldier away, so it's not used with the Miracle Fusion, which would then trigger the effect to draw 2, then discard. We have Flameburge also activating to reborn 2 level 1 fires from engrave. We are now at double disruption. That's it. In response to the Vine banishing from the graveyard to search for a polymerization, we're going to use the Little Knight to banish away itself and the Stratos. Polymerization is here. Miracle Fusion waiting to fuse the graveyard as we now make an Infernal Devicer. Infernal Devicer on summon will be searching for the Elemental Hero Neos, passing on the Promethean Princess, which we only have 1 disruption left actually. Now making the Infernal Rage with the Miracle Fusion, following up with Polymerization, fusing away the Plasma and the Elemental Hero Neos to make our DPE non-target pop. Now we're going to be using Promethean Princess to pop away that DPE, as we also use Link Karibo to tribute off the Poplar. Now, the Promethean Princess will not be summoned if the DPE is no longer on the field. At least one of the bodies have to be there in order for her to summon, but maybe we don't want her on the field anyway. That's fine. Reborn Link Karibo, pop away DPE and the Hida, thus the Promethean does not get summoned. DPE and the Hida will now be triggering. DPE will come back onto the field during the next turn, as the Hida will be searching for, what are we searching for here? 1500 or less fire monster. A Snake Eye Ash for big plays next turn. Now we have Favorite Contact. With the DPE coming out right now, we have non-target pop a card in the field with the DPE, plus the Favorite Contact, which could fuse away into the Shining Wingman, which will be able to activate on summon to destroy cards your opponent controls, non-targeting by the way, up to the number of different attributes on the field. We have Dark, Wind, Dark Wind Fire. That's at least 3 different attributes. And the Shining is Light. So that's going to be, what, 4 different attributes? We are using the Promethean Princess in response to the summon of the DPE. And then we're going to chain DPE, then chain the Little Knight to banish away the Infernal Rage and herself. Let's resolve it. Banishing away the Infernal Rage, DPE popping itself, plus the Snake Eye Oak. We want to ensure that the Promethean does not reborn during their own turn. So if we make sure that both of the bodies that she is targeting to destroy are gone, then she's not going to be able to further reborn a fire from Engrave. When are we going to whip out that favorite contact play? Multi-card destruction. Requiem jumping off the field to summon from the deck our Engraver. Requiem equipping onto Engraver to force away the Stratos potentially. This is it. Now we are summoning the Shining Neos Wingman at 4,600. That will trigger the Divine Temple, also triggering the Neos Wingman. And we are now popping how many cards? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cards wiped away as we scoop it. Ain't no way. Jaden is here. Grand Mag has taken a Game 1 victory. Send Diabasar to summon Diabasar. I've been talking about this. This is why you'd want to potentially activate your Maxi in the draw phase, because the Diabasar does not activate in hand to summon. We now have Deception Sinful, tributing away the Diabasar from in hand to grab the Hallowed Azamina. And now we can activate our Maxi. No, we're holding. Hold the C. Okay. Rosalago on summon is going to be searching our deck for the Wanted Seeker as we further turn the field into a Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now, we're going to Maxi before the summon of the Requiem. We're going to get hit by the Ash. And just like that, it did not even matter when we were holding our Maxi. The reason why you maybe do not want to Maxi the activation of the Hallowed Azamina is because they could, instead of going into the Rosalago, they can go directly into a Sylvia, plus multiple hand traps, and their turn. If you instead force them into a bigger commitment, where if they summon a Sylvia, it will potentially be multiple draws instead of just one, that's maybe something to want to consider. Let's talk about our forms of disruption here. Holy moly, we got 2 big board breakers. Now, we have Sylvia negate anything, plus triple monster negate with the Apollo USA, plus double special summon negate with the Wave King Caesar, plus double banish with the Masquerina, plus Promethean Princess Engrave, which could pop on special summon. That is 9 disruptions. But 9 disruptions turns into 1 disruption if the Dark Ruler No More negates the entire field. And that is what it's looking like is going to happen. Holy moly. If this does not sell you on the Dark Ruler No More, I do not know what will, because it's happening. Full field negate. And someone may be thinking, this is why I play Desiree. Desiree can't stop this. What are we going to chain? We can't chain to this to then Desiree negate. Desiree would be negated. Fully negated. Nothing is good. We're going to summon a Flame Burst in the back row. All we have is Promethean Princess. 9 disruption to 1. That's it. Now this full loss could have ideally been maybe a Maxi and Ash Blossom off of that random draw. Boo-hoo for Snake Eye Fiendsmith, currently the best deck. As we search for a Malicious, well, let's get Malicious into the graveyard through our Droplet. Let's get Reducing onto the Flame Burst, which didn't have a relevant effect that we were negating. As we now Malicious, banish summon a Malicious from the deck to now turn this into a Cross Crusader. Let's flame on! Cross Crusader is triggering to Reborn, and unfortunately, even though we turned off 8 disruptions, there still is that dreaded Promethean Princess, which was waiting to get popping on your... What the... We just top decked into a Hero Lives? Well, now we have to kill our Malicious to now make room, because we have to control no monsters to summon a Stratos in the deck, which is activatable more than once per turn. Ain't no way. Malicious Engrave, banishing to summon a Malicious back onto the field as we further turn into an Infernal Devicer to give fuel for our Ferris. Our Ferris needs a hero to discard, so we're going to search for an Elemental Hero, Neos, to then discard that Neos to come forth and summon. Ain't no way this is happening. We're going to equip the increased tribute off the Ferris to come forth and summon to activate to summon from the deck a Vian. We are in main phase 2, unfortunately, as we send a Denier from the deck to Engrave, as we then banish the Ferris to search for a Polymerization. And now, we're going to further link this up into Cross Crusader again. Denier is going to be reborning itself, returning back a Banished Malicious back into the deck. So we could use the Engraved Malicious. We're going to tribute off Denier, search our deck for a Liquid Soldier. To now Palmerize with the Liquid Soldier, 2, draw 2, then discard 1. What cards will we be drawing into? As we Sunrise, also search for a Miracle Fusion. Making sure to add the Miracle Fusion before the draw effect of Liquid Soldier. Come to us so we don't randomly draw into it, further thinning out the deck into a Double Finger. I don't need 2 of them. Let's discard 1 as we now make a Wonder Driver. If we get summoned to where the Wonder Driver is pointing to, it will trigger to reset a Palmerization. Absolute freaking zeros here. When it leaves the field, it will destroy every other monster on the field that the opponent controls. As we now, with the Palmerization reset, we're now going to Malicious, Reborn, and then activate Palmerization, fusing away the absolute zero to trigger the effect to wipe away all opposing negated monsters. You are all negated, and you're now all gone as Zoro scoops it up in main phase 2. Ain't no way that just happened. Wow. Scooping to absolute zero field wipe. If this leaves the field, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. He guaranteed had another turn, and he is out of here. Wow. Insanity. Starting off with our Fenrir, searching for our Unicorn. We're now going to follow up with the Fiendsmith Tract, grabbing a Lurie. Discard the Lurie. We have no hand trap whatsoever, so let's speed this up. Lurie triggering Engraver to reborn itself onto the field to now turn ourselves into a Requiem. Requiem's going to jump off the field into our Engraver. Normal summoning the Full Loss to keep the Fenrir on field as we now sequence, fuse the Graveyard to summon our Lacrima. Lacrima on summon's going to be reborning the Engraver if we had not searched or used the Fiendsmith Tract yet, making an Apollo USA, burn for 1200, and just like that, a pretty simple turn 1 play. But with this turn 1 play, how much disruption do we have? We have triple monster negate with Apollo USA, banish a face-up card face down with the Fenrir after a monster effect is activated. We have Imperm negate a monster plus Ash negate an interaction with the deck. This is 6 disruptions versus a 6-card hand. Are you ready? Let's go. Special summon our own Fenrir, Imperm negate the Fenrir. Now what's going to happen is this will trigger our own Fenrir to banish away your Fenrir if we want to. Do we want to? We're at 5 disruption, now down to 4. Think about this. Think about this. By playing the Cash Tier engine and simply summoning 1 Fenrir, we did not commit to a normal summon, and our 1 Fenrir ate up double disruption. So we were talking about 6 disruption for a 6-card hand. Well, one of those cards just ate up double disruption. Now we're going to follow up with the Wanted Seeker, which will be eaten by the Ash. Just like that, we now have triple disruption left, all on the Apollo USA. Engraver activating to search our deck. Apollo USA, negate. Double disruption left. If we can get to 1600 attack, we could simply swing over the Apollo. Summon the Oak, 2000 attack, and now we're at 0 disruption. We can make all our plays within main phase 2, summon an Ash from the deck, search for the Poplar. Let's speed this up. Poplar trigger, summon itself onto the field. Damn. 6 disruptions, and they're all gone. 0 disruptions. And we're making full plays. Love it. Nicely done. Ash and the Poplar, summon for the deck, the Flameburge. We're going to further link this up into a Moon of the Closed Heaven. Trigger the Flameburge, reborn both of our monsters from Engraved. Trigger the Oak to reborn the Poplar. As we now make a Fiendsmith Requiem. Requiem jumping off the field to summon from the deck an Engraver. Equip onto the Engraver to send the Fenrir to the graveyard. This is main phase 2. We're going to further link this up into Sequence. Sequence is going to fuse with the graveyard to make a Desiree. Now we're going to Diablo Star, Snake Eye, reborn itself from the back row, summoning a Masquerina. We're going to turn the Masquerina and the Sequence into the Promethean Princess as we reborn our Flameburst to equip the Masquerina into our back row. Sequence will first be equipping onto the Desiree, making it untargetable, and giving it the ability to negate up to 2 cards in the field. Negate the Promethean, so we're no longer locked into fire monsters only, as we now make an Apollo. This was so beautifully done. do we even really consider Fenrir to be a board breaker? Board breakers are cards like Dark Roll No More, negate the whole field, Raigeki, Lightning Storm, Triple Tactics Talent, Droplet, but a single Fenrir ate up double disruption, and then a boosted Oak was big enough to take out another double disruption on the Apollo USA. And after plowing through 6 disruptions, we now end our turn with how many disruptions? We have Masquerena into a double banish, double negate with the Apollo USA, 5 disruption with the Desiree, and a 6th form of disruption with the Promethean Princess, popping a monster on special summon. We have 6 disruption now. Good luck. We do have a Unicorn and a Veiler. We are going to right away get that Masquerena onto the field as we special summon our Unicorn, triggering the Promethean, wiping away the Unicorn. Masquerena is going to further link this up into a Little Knight. So we're going to go down to 4 disruption, as Little Knight is now going to be forced to banish a card on summon. With 4 disrupt left, what is good? We could even possibly maybe consider this to be 7 disruption if you use the Little Knight, I should say the Masquerena, to link up with the Desiree, to then use the Desiree effect to send a card in the field to the graveyard, which will be quite uncommon, but I guess it would be an extra disruption if we did make that play. Not that we needed it. Searching for a Birch, and just like that, going second 1 without Max C, without a real board breaker. Fenrir did help a lot. So I guess, are you all getting sold on the Cash Tier engine being teched in, or what? The hidden goo? Well, not so much. I end my turn. We're not going to see it now. No! Unicorn off the top of the deck. So there's multiple reasons why you'd want to maxi in the draw phase. One of those reasons could be Triple Tactics Talent, where only if a card effect of a monster is activated in the main phase is it then activatable. Another thing you'd want to potentially play around by activating the maxi in the draw phase is a special summon Unicorn. It doesn't activate in hand. Another one would be Diablo Star, does not activate in hand. So it can be quite frustrating, as they would be summoned before you would even activate the Maxi. And the main reason to not activate Maxi in the draw phase is no longer relevant in game, as that was Side Drive Gamma. Gamma being able to negate Maxi, and then you lose the duel from there. No one's really playing it. Imperm, negate the Snake Eye Ash. Now with the Unicorn and Ash, that is full Fiendsmith combo by Searching the Birth. Full Fiendsmith combo is not 2 bodies, it's 3. When Lacrima comes out, it will be 2 bodies. So do be ready for that. Imperm, negate the Diablo Star. Now, normally Imperming Diablo Star was not that popular, but Diablo Star grabbing the Sinful Deception, which then goes even with the Impermanence anyway, you kind of just have to do it now. What are the options? As we go into the Moon of the Closed Heaven, into the Requiem, we are ready with the Nibiru. When do we Nibiru? As we could follow up with the Nibiru using Birth to Reborn Unicorn back on the field. As we now turn this into a Fiendsmith sequence. Sequence is now going to be attempting to fuse the graveyard. As it does go through, we're going to be chaining a Maxi just to maybe not go into a Lacrima now. We're still going to Lacrima. Maybe we add the Engraver back to the hand instead of summoning it onto the field, because that would be a draw 2. Nope. We do. Ooh. We're going to add a Fool Loss. Instead of Nibiruing the field, because what's going to happen here is the Lacrima and Engraver will make a Caesar, which will negate the Nibiru. This is quite spicy. If we Birth, Reborn the Unicorn, that's going to be a ton of damage. Are you sure about this Fool Loss instead of using a Nibiru? Maybe we're checking for a Crossout Designator. If he does not Crossout Designate the Fool Loss, then we Nibiru. Uh-oh. I guess we have another chance. Another chance. 79. This is game. That's it. You do not need 8,000 with the Lacrima on field. Oh, just like that. Tribute off the field. Nibiru is here. Fool Loss plus Maxi would have been a draw 2. We did not want to commit to that draw 2. Burned for 1,200, as we are now going to just end our turn. Did we? We didn't want to Birth Reborn, which would have been, because of Maxi, just a draw 1. Sure. We have regained. Sure. Steam of the Cloak into Almirage. I think this is a Bestial deck. Bestial Fiendsmith, where it's a ton of Bestials plus a bunch of cards to efficiently go into the Fiendsmith engine. As you saw right there, Steam of the Cloak is going to be turned into an Almirage, which then turns into a token. Wait, the token is more than once per turn? What the heck? It's truly a one-card Fiendsmith. Wow. That is something. Double token in one freaking turn? That card used to be banned for that reason. We're going to Engraver, send the Requiem and the opposing card, and just like that, with the super efficient Fiendsmith play, wow, Steam the Cloak is the way. Double token summon. Nicely done. We're going to send our Snake-Eyed Diablo Star to summon our regular Diablo Star. As we set up these Sinful Spoils into our back row, we are now going to be tributing off a monster from our hand or field to get Ash Blossom negated. Otherwise, this would be turning into the Brisalago, setting up the Snake Eye engine, and then also setting up a Sylvia to protect the Snake Eye engine. Thus, the Azamina engine is truly what's super broken with the new pack release. We're going to hit them with the max seat early within the draw phase, as a lot more people are now playing with the Kashtira cards. We're going to set our Steam of the Cloak, which if it leaves the field by battle even, it will still summon that token to protect us. Deception being a continuous spell, continually activating every single turn as we Hallowed Azamina send the Sinful Spoils to come forth and make our Brisalago. Brisalago on summon will be bridging our way into the Snake Eye cards. Now, unfortunately, we do have Poplar. Poplar will be a full combo play into Snake Eye, but wait, I thought we were going to wait. We would want to make a Sylvia. Well, we have to make Sylvia before 5 summons, or we're done goofing. So we could still do that. Could link it off, 3rd summon, then return it back, then the 4th summon will be Sylvia. Yep, this is fine. This works. The problem is we can't use Original Sinful to summon from the deck now. So we're going to send the Original Sinful. Are we adding a Birch? Did we already tribute off a Birch? Birch is already tributed in the grave. We now have a negate for that Nibiru, ready to negate as we summon our Engraver. 6,200, we're going to equip onto the Engraver, send the Steam the Cloak from face down out of here, and since it was face down and not attacked into, which would then flip it up, it does not summon the token, as the Sylvia now negates. Now, what was I saying about Lacrima? 6,800 damage is game. We got game. This is already game. Sequence. Fusing away with the Graver to come forth and summon Lacrima. Lacrima's 3,600 attack, essentially, due to its burn. We know that it is enough. You don't even have to have AK on field anymore. Just main phase 2, burn for game. Why does Lacrima have the burn? Why did they do this? What the hell are they thinking? Begin. And if you are sick of this week should be fixing this. Hopefully, Phantom of Yubel goes to 1, Diablo Star goes to 1, Bonfire goes to 1. That is my prediction for the ban list this week. We do have Phantom of Yubel, which will be able to negate any monster effect. Let's do it. 1 disruption. We're going to Deception is Sinful, grabbing our Hallowed Azamina to fuse away into our Brisalago. Kind of like Risala, but Brisalago. We going into a Sinful Spoils or Azamina card, or are we, as the Phantom of Yubel instead negates? Now, by negating, it's not really negating. It's going to instead destroy a Yubel from the deck and then summon a Yubel onto the field. And just like that, we are now at 0 disruption. Now, with Yubel on field not being destroyable by battle, and if destroyed, it activates to summon from the deck another Yubel, a good way to deal with it is maybe we don't destroy it, right? This states that only when destroyed. So if you could use Engraver plus the Requiem to send it instead of destroying it, it doesn't trigger. You could also use a Flame Burst to push it in the back row. You could use a Snake-Eyed Diablo Star to push it in the back row after battling into it. You could also use your Doom Dragon from the extra deck to push it into the back row. And then, as I said, the Requiem coming up to send it to the graveyard. That's 4 easy ways to deal with it without having to resort to the Little Knight, which could banish it. Thus, we surrendered. Hard. Summoning. Phantom of Yubel. This is what happens if you do not activate your Max C early. They then have a negate for your Max C. It's another reason why you would potentially want to Max C in the draw phase. As we now have D Lotus to protect us from a dreaded Ash Blossom. Nightmare Pain is here. Popping the Spirit Yubel to grab a Squirmer. Triggering the Spirit Yubel to summon Yubel from the deck. Squirmer special summon to pop the Yubel. Let's speed this up. Yubel triggering to summon a Terra Incarnate. Engraver discarding to grab the Tract. Tract will then summon a Luri from the deck after discarding it. Holy moly, what did we accomplish here? We have no disruption from the graveyard, no disruption with the back row. With just the monsters, we can negate anything, plus negate anything, plus negate a monster, plus link off of the special summon monster into a banish on summon, into an additional banish, giving us a total of 6 disruption. But within those 6 disruption, having a double negate, and one of them being a non-target negate, that is great. Let's go. Bonfire, searching for a Snake Eye Ash. As we Deception Sinful, tribute a monster from the hand to search for our Hollowed Azamina. Hollowed Azamina is going to be sending the Deception Sinful to summon our Rosalago. Rosalago on summon will be searching for a Sinful Spoils card. It actually will not, as the Phantom of Yubel changes the effect to instead destroy Yubel from the deck. Pretty much a negate. We did not activate Spirit of Yubel because I guess our only Yubel is attached to the Varadros. And we just lost our Unchained Soul of Rage because we have Nightmare Pain. Nightmare Pain is supposed to protect our Spirit of Rage. But the Yubel that's supposed to be on the field is stuck under the Varadros. So I guess we did not account for that. Thus, our 5 disruption turns into 2. We just lost 3 disruption, but the chamber could reborn the Spirit of Rage to go back up to 5. So we're fine. We still have 5 disruption. We're going to Varadros, negate the Snake Eye Ash, and we could additionally pop any card in the field. We are. We're going to also pop the Snake Eye Ash. We're at 4 disruption. We still have the untargetable Desiree to negate anything. The chamber, which could reborn the Spirit Rage to get Lincoln off. And I think this would be a good moment to make that play. Reborn, link off, Little Knight, banish away. Yep. On the resolution, you need to toggle on for this play. Toggle on is the way as we link off into one of our forms of disruption here. Into Little Knight Banish, Desiree negate with triple disruption. And just like that, let's hop into game number 3. Let's go. Let's talk about our forms of disruption. What the heck? You drew Fool Loss for the turn? Are you freaking kidding me? Wow. Master Rule 6 is never coming, which would be the new change to Master Duel and just Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole, where the turn 2 player has 6 cards in their opening hand, but they don't draw for the turn so that they have a higher chance to have a card like Fool Loss as they're making all their freaking plays. Now, is Fool Loss completely dead right now? It could draw 1 card. Yeah, the Mask Arena going to Little Knight. That, yeah, 1 for 1, sure. But beyond that, we have a double monster negate with the Apollo USA, negate anything with the Desiree, which could be up to 2 cards on the field. We have a Droll and Lockbird, which could disallow them from adding after adding. And then we have the Promethean Princess, which could pop a card on special summon. We have Mask Arena summonable with the Flameburst, which could double banish. So that's about 7 disruption. Let's see what's good. 7 disruption versus 6 cards in our hand. The math is not adding up here. Wow. We found that worth negating. Okay, let's negate that Fool Loss. You fool. Sure, that could have negated a Call by the Grave instead. Let's see if that ended up being worth it. We're going to Flameburst, reborn our Mask Arena, as the Phantom of Yubel could choose when to negate a monster effect, which then the Apollo would then negate the Phantom. We're going to Droll and Lockbird, finger the Droll, and we don't have Cross Out Designate, but we would be negating our own finger, which our finger is going to negate the Phantom of Yubel. So it's fine. We're going to summon our D-Lotus, going into the Mask Arena, come forth into Little Knight. Now, the problem with holding on to a disruption for the Little Knight itself and not the Mask Arena is chain link blocking. You put two effects on the same chain, which are going to be trigger effects. You put the better one on the lower chain link, which would be the Little Knight. Thus, it's then protected from being negated by something like a Phantom of Yubel. But Phantom of Yubel is chained down, pinned down by the Apollo and the finger anyway. And looks like we're protecting the Flame Burst from being negated instead of Little Knight. Sure. So we're going to Phantom of Yubel, or maybe we're just baiting. We're tricking them. Oops, I messed up my chain link blocks. No, I didn't, because you're getting fingered. Now we're going to chain the Squirmer as our Phantom of Yubel is getting fingered. Apollo USA is also going to negate the Squirmer. No summon onto the field for you as we reborn our 2 level 1 fires. Now, we have Little Knight banish, Apollo negate, Desiree negate, and Promethean Princess pop. We still have 4 disruptions. And we're out of place. That's it, mate. All right, nicely done. We tried our best, and that's just not good enough. Damn, the Desiree didn't even get to use its effect. That is wild. Holy moly. As we now, let's please end this duel. You know it's in their hand, bro. You know it's not Spirit of Yubel. It's public knowledge. You know everything that's there. And just like that to the battle phase. Lethal damage. Thank you to both players. Let's hop in another match. GG go next, true. Poplar is going to be linking off into a Link Karibo. The only 2 cards it could search is Original Sinful or the Divine Temple. They're both in our hand. As we have no disruption whatsoever, let's speed this up. The problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is essentially 1 card could make this field of how much disruption? 2 monster negates, 2 banishes, negate anything, plus a Promethean Princess, and then we have our hand traps. We play the hand traps to prevent fields like this from being built on turn 1 where we otherwise have no other plays. But then if we get to go first with those hand traps that are used to keep a combo like this in check, to keep it balanced, it's now on top of this turn 1 play. We have Imperm as a 7th. We have Ash Blossom as an 8th form of disruption. 8 disruptions. We do the math. We have a 6-card hand versus 8 disruptions. It could have at least been 6 versus 6, but nope. Impermanent Ash is now what's breaking this even further. So I do think that Konami should either be making more archetypal type hand traps where they only are usable within your own archetype, or more cards like Fool Loss. Fool Loss would not be usable here because you have to control no cards to even use it. So I don't know. Ban, limit all of the generic hand traps, but give us a ton of newer ones with heavier restrictions. Because otherwise, this 1 card combo into 20 hand trap meta, it's ridiculous. Not even our core disruptions are being used here. We're just throwing an Ash on top of this. Negate the deception. Oak on Summon Reborn, the Ash. We're going to Divine Temple, maybe even Imperm. Bro. What? Now, we Ash and Imperm. After Ash and Imperm, we have 3 cards left to deal with the leftover 6 disruptions. Now we get to deal with the 6 disruptions after the Ash and Impermanence. What the hell is that? Oak is negated from even sending Deception to then summon from the deck. Straight up negated. That's no good. Wanted Seeker, grabbing a Diablo Star. We're gonna link this off into a Link Karibo. Getting ready for our Diablo Star play. This is the way as we send Flame Burst. At least Flame Burst is triggerable here. That's pretty good. Trigger to Reborn from Engrave, Chainlink blocking the Flame Burst effect. So the Apollo is forced to negate the Diablo Star instead. Nicely done. And if you wanted to protect Diablo Star, you could send a card like Poplar to then put Poplar on the higher Chainlink, protecting Diablo Star from the search. As the Ash gets negated. What do we have? 4 disruption now? Yeah. 4 disruption as we now go into our Little Knight. Little Knight on summon is going to then get banishing. Thus, we're then going to be left on 3 disruption left after this resolves. banishing away the Diablo Star, triggering our own Flame Burst to reborn 2 bodies from Engrave. Desiree is ready to negate up to 2 cards on the field. And we're going to do that right now. Okay, in case you were thinking about summoning a Snake-Eyed Diablo Star from the deck, nope. In case you were thinking about, I don't know, killing my Apollo that had negates anyway, we have Link Rebo to kind of protect. Reduce, sure. We still have our triple disruption. Let's link this up into our own Promethean. Now, what did we accomplish here? We actually accomplished things, because now we can't Promethean. Promethean Engrave has no fire monster to destroy. The Desiree already activated. We only have Little Knight. We actually did a great job at playing through these disruptions. How did we end up with only 1 disruption left? Had we not had Impermanent Ash, I think we could have just won this duel straight up. Do we win anyway? I don't know. Reborn Oak. Oak Send to summon a Poplar from the deck. We still had Poplar. And just like that, 8 disruptions are now 0. 0 disruption left. Now, the Desiree has a hidden disruption. If it's sent to the graveyard, it could then trigger to send a card in the field to the grave. That's going to be completely up to Mugiwara to even trigger that effect. Wow. How did this happen? How did we play through 8 disruption? Is that more so showing the power of Snake-Eye Fiendsmith, how good this deck is, that it could play through that much disruption? Insanity. We're going to be returning the Sinful Spoil, drawn to a random Nibiru here, which, because the opponent summoned so much on our own turn, Nibiru on our own turn is activatable to tribute the field if we want to, which would not be good. You do not want to trigger the Desiree. Requiem is going to come for... Whoa, we are triggering the Desiree, actually. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. Desiree trigger, send a card on the field to the grave on the resolution of the Requiem. To now get sending. What are we sending? We are going to return back sequence to just get rid of Nibiru. Okay, even Steven. Doom Dragon is here. Push the token back into our own back row as we now make a Fiendsmith sequence. Sequence is going to be fusing with the graveyard. Come forth into Lacrima. Lacrima on summon is going to be adding back the Engraver. Boy. Where we had no hand trap and no board breaker, and we played through 8 freaking disruptions. Y'all got to rewatch this, I don't know, 20 times. Our disruptions could not have been perfectly played. There's no way. Could we have prevented Promethean from being turned off? The battle phase turned off our Promethean summon. Our Desiree was used preemptively, and then they still were able to use the effect that Desiree was trying to stop. Should we have held on to the Desiree negate longer? What the heck should have happened here? Little Knight, come forth on summon, banishing away the opposing Snake-Eyed Diablo Star as we now end the turn. Now, we are the ones with multiple disruption. We have non-targetable Desiree, cannot be targeted by the Little Knight banish, and we can also non-target negate up to 2 cards in the field. It's a 1 disruption, plus Little Knight chain banish, plus the Engrave Promethean Princess, which could pop. That's only going to be reliant on the Poplar, so we have triple disruption. Do we have any follow-up like an Original Sinful? We do. Original Sinful could return back in the deck to search if we have anything searchable like our Snake-Eye Ash. Yeah, we do have Ash in the deck. Return Poplar, search for Ash. It's exactly what we're going to be wanting to do. Or return back the Oak, I guess, to grab Ash. Ash, add the Oak, and then we used up our normal summon. Link Rebo tributing off the Poplar, turning off our Promethean Princess. As the Little Knight, if one of the cards we're targeting for banishment is no longer there, then we don't banish. So say goodbye to you, as we just have Desiree. Grab the Ash. Ash on summon is going to be searching not for a Poplar. Okay. Ash is not, we're just interesting. We don't search. We keep the Oak in deck to instead summon to reborn the Poplar, essentially doing the same thing as adding Poplar and summoning it, right? Let's make a Hida. Let's maybe Desiree negates on the Hida trying to steal a monster from our grave. No. Desiree with the non-target negate. No summon for you. Negated. To battle we go. Big enough to get the Link Rebo off the field. As we now follow up, set the cross-out designator. We have the Desiree negate every single turn. Engraver is going to be returning back the Lacrima. As we cross out designator, negate Engraver by banishing it from the deck. We're going to chain our own Little Knight to banish itself plus the Hida. Now, if this goes through, we have to be okay with this. We could negate this. The Hida is going to stay on the field. We're just scooping. We know. It's like, what are we doing here? We know it's done. It's over. Let's move on to game 2. It's just game 1. We are playing against a time limit here. So I would say it is correct if you know it's over. Just surrender, hop into the next game. Unless you do want to put on a good show for the stream. I do appreciate that immensely. Oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot to drink. Sinful Spoil. We are going first again. As we have the Fool Loss in response to the Hollow Nezamina summoning from the extra deck. Let's add a Maxi on top of it. Let's subtly check for a cross-out designate or a finger or an Ash, none of the 3, then add in the C. As we go straight into the Sylvia, thank you for the draw 2. Now, ideally, you're ending with Sylvia plus multiple hand traps. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So... Bro, I was able to play through 8 disruption. Now you have just 1. What do you think I'm going to do to this Sylvia? Well, I'll start off with imperming it, then going into a full combo play. Let's go. Negate. And now we go in. Have your way with the Sylvia. Scoop. Begin. Starting this off with normal summon Fossil Dyna. Pass. Wow. Your turn 1 didn't take at least 10 minutes? What a noob. So with this, very simply, you cannot play the game. You can't special summon. Now, the Clockwork is essentially a 1,000 attack boost. It's going to boost your monsters by 500 and reduce the opponent's monsters by 500. That's a problem. Oh boy, we set and pass. We also have Iron Thunder, which spell, trap card, or monster effects activated on the field, that is, you can negate and then destroy everything in the same column. We also have another card disruption, Solemn Strike. You activate a monster effect, we will negate. Wow, can't do anything. A Maxi's dead, Called By's dead. Equation can't be used. I guess there's nothing worth searching with the small world. Sigma can't special summon. Superfactorial's dead. Now, in order to use the impermanence, we do have to use the cross-out designate to ensure we have nothing on the field. And now we can imperm. But we have Solemn Judgment. Negate the impermanence mate. I don't think so. And then we surrender, right? No? Well, we keep on going. There's still... Oh, now there's another card. Yeah, that's the surrender. Holy moly. So now you know what I'm talking about, where a new player could pick this up and just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, anyone on the ladder, right? That's what people do not want you to do. But if you want to win, then that's how you do it. Nope, we're not waiting. Activate right away. Not even an activation. Yes, playing stun, which is what this deck is, also negates having a social life, but you don't need that. Who cares? Circular is gone. We have Lingariba, which can negate a trap card, but not a counter trap. We special summon our Parallel Exceed into another one summoned from the deck. Baguska can force the opposing stun monsters into defense. A good play. It will also negate them. We have Clockwork Knight, reducing everything, as we now have a Dimensional Fissure, further extending the power of the Dimension Shifter, ensuring that any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Now, you just saw a monster being sent to the grave. That's not a monster being sent from a monster. That's an Xyz material. So that's why it is not sent to the grave. I should say it's not banished. It is still sent to the grave. That was abusable at Sangan. Sangan was being sent to, it was considered being sent from the field to the grave. They had to change some rulings, even though that's not applicable to the Dimensional Fissure anyway. It was a whole mess back in the day, turning, I think Torgai was $150 per copy. You needed 3 of it. Yeah, that was a good time. All right, Baguska is done with negating after the next turn, as it will then be dealing with itself off the field. We're going to Super Poly away the field, the 2 fire monsters, fusing into our Garura. And Garura, only if sent to the graveyard, could draw a card. So wow. Wow. We just don't even want to play. Wow. And we timed out. Wow. We walked away. Jeez. Holy moly. Could someone check up on this player, please, if you know him IRL? Okay, let's hop into another match. We're going second, unfortunately. We do have Droll and Lockbird as the Fenrir adds, which then triggers the Droll early. Wait, we're both playing tier? This is wild. Infernoble tier? Ain't no way. We're going into an Isold, all under the Droll. We could have chain link blocked the Angelica. So this has to be the direct chain to a card targeting it. If we activate the tier limit cash tier, and let's say even the Apollo negate it, what would happen is Angelica stays on the field. And that maybe would have been the good play to do, yes? Now, they would be able to follow up Gearblade target it, even if you chain link block it, and then you would not have an out to that. So it wasn't completely turning it off if they have another way to target it. We are now making Emperor Charles. And how good is this card? Well, if we go on over to Master Duel Meta's top card page and we click on win rate when summoned, we will see that Emperor Charles, when summoned, has an 88.7% win rate, only better done by the Emperor Charles the Great itself, as you also see on the field, giving you a 90% win rate if summoned. We only have a 10% chance to lose this duel according to the official in-game analytics. Holy moly. Why is that? Well, it does have multiple effects here. It can negate any spell or trap card. It can destroy any card in the field pretty much whenever we want when equipping it with the Roland, which we could do whenever we want. We do have the Angelic Ring, which will negate the first spell you activate. So alone, it's kind of tied to 3 disruption. We then have the Apollo USA with another 3 disruption, giving us 6 total disruption, as that is 3 additional monster negates. And do we have a Promethean in the grave here? This all happened under a Droll and Lockbird, by the way. 6 disruption. Let's go. Roland equipping to trigger the effect to get poppin'. The Unicorn will also be deleting a card from the extra deck, banishing it face down, as the Emperor Charles the Great deletes the Unicorn, but the Birth could just reborn it back in the field. This has to be negated by the Emperor Charles, otherwise the Angelic Ring will try to negate it, but it does not. So we're now down to 4 disruption, negate the activation of the Birth. Nicely done. We have 3 monster negates plus the Angelic Ring, which will negate the Fiendsmith Tract. We're returning cards back to randomly draw into a hand trap that's not usable. Negate the Sharon. We cannot negate again in the same chain link with Apollo. So this is our opportunity to summon, banishing from engrave, our Unicorn to activate on a new chain, which could then get negated. We didn't even bother activating as we just take out the Apollo. We're now up to 1 disruption, which we don't have control of. It just negates, and that's it. We used up all our disruption. From 6 disruption to 0, which also resulted in our surrender. Special summon a cash tier Unicorn right away into no hand traps in sight. So let's have our way. We do have a board breaker though. Do very much consider playing a card like Triple Tactics Talent, which not only is it good for breaking the board, it could be great on your very first turn, allowing you to draw 2 additional cards, or if you're under the effect of Maxi, which hopefully they also used either that or another monster effect within the main phase, you could then look at their hand, return a card back, instead of further committing into your turn 1 play. We have negate a special summon. We have perform a fusion summon by detaching the Sharon, which will likely spin a card in the field back or negate a monster. We have triple monster negate with the Apollo USA. We have Ash Blossom negate in interaction with the deck. That's 6 disruption. Do we have anything hiding in the graveyard before I get to the Beatrice? No Fairy Tale Snow, but the Beatrice could send a Fairy Tale Snow, which could be a form of disruption. The Beatrice could send a Blackout Laughs, which could be a form of disruption. The Beatrice could trigger a fusion, which could be a form of disruption. So I would say about 7 disruption plus a Maxi. Are you ready? Let's go. Steal a card off the top of the deck, so we now could draw a card in addition to our fusion trigger. Durendal equipping onto the Apollo, searching our deck for the red layer Super Quantum. We're going to max C before it special summons itself onto the field without activating. And now we could triple Tactics Talent, take control of 3 of your disruptions. So from 7, you're now down to 4 disruption. As the Brucalis attempts to negate, so we're now down to 3 disruption as the Apollo negates the negate as the Redoer, and the Beatrice, in addition to the same chain as the Apollo, as she cannot negate within that same chain, making sure to send from the deck a fusion trigger, as the Time Thief Redoer will also be triggering a fusion. Now we could chain link block our fusion trigger so that Apollo could only negate 1 of them. Let's see what's good. Sharon and Hovness into the Apollo not negating. Okay. Let's return back, including the Pirellia, to summon the Kaleido Heart, which will on-summon, spin a card back. As we then make a Dragostapelia, I'd be thinking, right? Yes, indeed. Kaleido Heart, spin away the Dolphin. We do have Dragostapelia and Ash Blossom. Oh boy, are we drawing. Battling Boxer Dempsey will be searching our deck for nothing as the Ash Blossom negates. If the Apollo tries to negate, the Dragostapelia will negate. Dempsey's activating an effect that would then make it untargetable, which does not really do anything. Okay, it's now untargetable, fine. But we do have our Sharon triggering, though, which is a benefit of that effect of making yourself untargetable, to go into our own Kick Cow to search for a Rhino, to then send ourselves to summon the Rhino, to now trigger the Rhino and the Kick Cow to mill 5, plus send any card from the deck to the grave. When are we using that Dragostapelia? Rhino sending a Hovness. Hovness triggering a fuse. Crazy fusion shenanigans from both players here. I am loving it. We are not done as we go into the Isold. With Isold, we have 14 cards left in our deck here. What the heck are we doing? Are we fully taking this Maxi challenge or what? We just have a Dragostapelia. Will the Retaliating Sea be activatable? They have to activate a spell that would include special summoning. I don't think we're going into that. No way, right? The activate a spell. Would that include a continuous spell in the back row special summoning? Or does it have to be a spell card? Ooh, it does not include a spell effect. It has to be a spell card. So we are going to Joy Use, add back the Gearfried. Gearfried will now be able to negate the Dragostapelia. We have the Dragostapelia right now, which would then get negated by the Apollo. What the heck is going on? I think the Maxi challenge is going to be accomplished here. I think we are overcoming it. Ain't no way. With the pinned down Dragostapelia, we are in big trouble. Promethean Princess is now here. Do we have Nibiru in this deck or what? Angelica is going to be chaining to a targeting effect, which the Dragostapelia could have tried to chain link block from activating. As we summon the Roland, we have a Droll now. Okay. I mean, his hand, I'm trying to scroll through all of it. We have a Tier Limit Kashtira, which could summon within the main phase, which would have then been negated by Apollo, which then the Dragostapelia could have negated the Apollo for negating, but then the Gearfried could have negated the negate, mate. I think we're done. Yep. Holy moly. Maxi challenge accepted and accomplished. Holy moly. We did it. Wow. That's a 2-0. Chicken game. Whoa, card scanner. What the heck? And maybe this Tenpai player is preferring to go first. Maybe that's the case here. I don't know. What's going on? We're looking at the top card of the deck. Cards scanning. Okay. And we're now grabbing a Pydra with our Sangan summoning, discarding our Raigeki. Pydra searching for our Kaimin. We cannot Valor that as it's going to be unaffected thanks to the Sangan summoning. Kaimin searching for the Genroku. Genroku triggering in hand a special summon. We're not going to be hitting them with the Max C. As we now make a Bident Dragon. Bident Dragon on summon, reborning that Genroku. Zeus won the coin flip, but it's no point in speculating. Zeus has been going second all day. So everything's fine. Everything is fine. So this is interesting. Zeus is playing a go second Fiendsmith deck. I'd like to know more. Let's see how it goes. We did not go into our Hieratic Seal, which would be a normal turn 1 play. Let's see what happens. We do have Droplet though. Fiendsmith tracked As we add a Lurie from the deck, discard that Lurie. Lurie will be triggering to reborn itself from Engrave. We're ready with that Droplet, and the moment you'd want to use Droplet could possibly be on something like a Fiendsmith sequence. Possibly. Or when you feel they're going to be directly outing your Transcendent Dragon. Now, Transcendent Dragon is rebornable. We're going to be sending the Fadra. Fadra in the battle phase would have been able to reborn a monster, also making ourselves and other monsters indestructible by battle. We're going to Droplet, negate the sequence. Just as we said, this is our negate. No fusion summon play with the grave. Sure. Engraver, return back the Requiem from Engrave to then summon itself out. Tract is going to be fusing with the field into our Lacrima. Lacrima is going to activate, reborning from Engrave our Engraver. As we now further turn this into a Wave King Caesar, not big enough to take out the Transcendent Dragon. As we banish our own Veiler, to then further banish our own Lurie to summon our Serenir alongside the Druid Swarm. Now, by summoning the Nightmare Phoenix, that will trigger the Druid Swarm to send the Transcendent Dragon to the grave. And if we declare 3 attacks, the Transcendent will be rebornable, but the Wave King Caesar will be able to negate that reborn effect. Now, the Sanguine Summoning does not protect your monsters on the opponent's main phase 1, only yours. Goodbye to Triple Tactics talent. We only have 2 attacks anyway. And we have Ash Blossom to negate the Sanguine Summoning as they try to add a card. Upstart Goblin, draw into engage. Ash, negate the engage. The Sanguine Summoning has to discard what we add. So with no other card to discard with the Sanguine Summoning being used as Ash is not going to be a problem. Card Scanner. Now, what exactly are we doing here? Declare a card type, monster, spell, or trap. Both players reveal the bottom card of their deck, and if it is the declared card type, they add it to their hand. Otherwise, they place it on the top of their deck. Wow. This is a card that Runic plays. Runic does put their Runic spells on the bottom of the deck, so you guaranteed know that there's a spell on the bottom of your deck. But this is not a Runic deck. We're just crazy. Okay, and now the Sanguine Summoning's activatable. What the heck is this? What? Grabbing a Pydra, searching for the Kaiman, as we then just end our turn. The Kaiman battle phase effect would have been negated by the Caesar, so I guess we didn't want to attempt that. Say goodbye to the Pydra, direct to the phase 1900, as we now main phase 2, Little Knight. Little Knight on summon, say goodbye to the Sanguine Summoning, as the Lacrima burns for the final 1200 damage. Lethal damage. Tenpai gets to choose to go first or second against a deck that wants to go second, but you also want to go second. So I guess it's easy choice. You choose for them to go first. We did choose for Zeus to go first, as the Zeus Mad Lad's going to use Engraver to grab a Track. Track's going to be adding an Engraver, as we already have the Lurie in hand. Let's speed up their turn 1. As the Lurie triggers to reborn, we're going to use the Track to fuse with our hand or field. What do we have here? We have the ability to negate up to 2 cards in the field. That's going to be 1 form of disruption, plus we could banish a monster on the field with the Little Knight. We have Baldrake, which could banish in the graveyard, which I'm not going to say is a form of disruption, but we also have the Max C, which could hopefully draw into other forms of disruption. The Fool Loss is a bounce card, thus it's dead. Oh boy, what is this hand? We got Card Scanner, Ultimate Slayer. Now, Ultimate Slayer says you are going to target a monster your opponent controls, and the Desiree cannot be targeted, and you're trying to spin the card back to the extra deck. So we could target the Little Knight, though. Let's see what's good. Ultimate Slayer targeting the Little Knight, successfully being done so. Nice animation as we spin that Fool back. We're going to trigger the Tri-Brigade Arms being sent to the grave to draw a card with Garura. We're going to add the Max C to the play now in case they are to draw into a Call by the Grave, Cross Out, or an Ash Blossom. They do not. We have Card Scanner. We're going to YOLO. Call the bottom card of our deck. We called Spell. It was not a spell, thus we do not get to draw, as we're now going to be using Sanguine Summoning. Sanguine Summoning would be adding to then discard. Desiree is non-target negating. It's also non-targetable itself, but the Droplet does not target with its negate, thus you're negated. Non-target negate versus non-target negate. We're going to grab a Chandra Mate from the deck here. Now, if the Desiree dies, Desiree will activate in the graveyard to send a card on the field to the grave. Uh-oh. Can we chain Synchro? Can we chain Kaiman? No. It is the damage step. It is the end of the damage step, as you can see here by clicking on the information button. We're getting rid of the Sengen Summoning, so the ability to double the attack of one of the Synchros is no more. We are able to add Fua Loss to our play. We no longer control any cards. I cannot believe we're actually Fua Lossing. Baldrake and the Druid Swarm are attempting their summon, as they are successfully doing so, as we go into our Bident Dragon. Druid Swarm, resolve, get banishing, Bident on summon, reborn our Pydra. Ooh, we are banishing away the Bident Dragon. Wow, very nicely done here. As we Druid Swarmed, which then they made sure to activate the Synchro, and then the Baldrake was on the field before the Synchro happened. So ideally, you are synchroing on a higher chain link than the Baldrake, which we did not do. Did we have the effect of Pydra to chain to the Baldrake? Because if so, then we screwed up, right? Chandra on lower chain link than Baldrake, but then you would want to add the Pydra to the higher chain link so that the Baldrake does not witness the Synchro. Goodbye, Bident. Druid Swarm being sent to the grave is going to be sending the newly special summoned monster. Kaiman adding the Fadra. And, oh boy. What is going on? We ended on just a Fadra. We actually stopped a Tenpai Onslaught going second. Unbelievable. Very well done with the Fua Loss, Baldrake, and Druid Swarm play. Nicely done. We're going to summon our Fiendsmith Engraver. Engraver is going to be linking off into the Requiem. Requiem's going to be jumping off the summon into the Engraver. Requiem equipping onto the Engraver. Engraver is going to send the Fadra to the grave. We still have our Kaiman. Do we play another copy of the Fadra? Because the Chandra is limited to one. We're going to sequence, fuse away with the graveyard to come forth and summon into our Lacrima. With Lacrima, we're going to be targeting the Engraver to reborn itself back onto the field. 7,900 damages here. Wave King Caesar, and just like that, into battle phase we go. We're going to lethal damage the Lacrima. Link off the Lacrima in the graveyard with 300 life left. That is 2,400 damage burnt with the Lacrima within this duel. Lethal damage. Was this this is 1-1, right? Did I mess up the scores? Wait, that's a 2-0? I think that's a 2-0. 2-0 victory. Zeus winning both games. Wow. We have Magical Musketeer Starfire. If you activate a card in the same column as the Starfire, she triggers to summon from the deck. But Fua freaking lost double the Fua. We already are committing to that summon from the deck. It's not hand or deck where we get to put that body. So this is a draw two if we want to do it right here, right now. One. What about two? What about two? Okay, we could be afraid of a Call by the Grave negating both of them, so maybe we would wait for the first one to resolve, I guess. It's safer to wait, possibly. If we're not negating the first one, what are the chances of anyone ever adding a Call by the Grave to negate 2 for 1? That would be insane. But I guess that fear is still there, and we don't want to look bad in the tournament. So we have the Silahat Rabbit, and with this field, what did we accomplish? We have Imperm to negate a monster. We have the Azure Rune to negate an inherent special summon. And you gotta be careful with the Azure Rune. The Azure Rune negates the summon. And if it is an activation that starts a chain link to summon, normally a card like this would not work, but if you read how the Tenpai works, it states that when the effect resolves, perform a Synchro Summon. So the Azure Rune does, in fact, negate something like a Bident Summon, and if the Bident Summon is negated, it then cannot be reborn from Engrave. But, if you put this effect to Synchro Summon on a higher chain link that's not chain link 1, then the Azure Rune misses the timing and cannot negate that summon. So it's all up to Shankers. If he knows, then this won't be negating. But if he knows that you know that he knows to play around the Azure Rune, you could be playing into an impermanence, because the reason Imperm is not good is because if you chain link 1, activate the Synchro, you chain Imperm, they chain link 2 to the Synchro, you then would get fully negated on that Synchro, as you're going to, the Azure Rune will now negate the chain link 1. So this is actually the perfect combo to force them into getting negated. I hope we see it, and we're not. Negate the Hydra. I guess this is another way of forcing them into a chain link 1 Synchro. Well, no, it actually isn't. What you'd want to do is you activate the Hydra, the negated Hydra on chain link 1, and then the higher chain link will be going through and not getting negated. Raigeki, wiping away the field. We're going to Kaimin, grab from the deck. Ooh, and we are under the effect of Maxi, which Tenpai does not care for. The whole ruling I talked about is immensely relevant right now. This is it. If you know the ruling, you're good. If you don't know the ruling, then your summon's gonna get negated. You gotta chain another summon. Chain. It could have been chain link 1 Hydra, chain link 2 Chandra. No, this is negated. This is not how you play around Azure Rune. Azure Rune's gonna negate your summon. No. Did we forget? That it's negated? We did the chain link order wrong, mate. No! That's a negate. Negate with the Azure Rune. Bident now can't be reborn. Not rebornable. Now, the real funny part about this is I think Tenpai still wins. Chandra, Synchro Shokan, and it doesn't even matter. Oh, we drew into a Magna Hut, so now it does matter. Uh-oh. But does it matter? Maybe it still doesn't even matter. Actually, I don't think it still matters. Disgusting how crazy Tenpai is. Yep, it actually still didn't matter. The Rabestial and a Bident summon being negated, which we could have played around it being negated. Crazy. Holy moly. I think we just forgot the Hydra was negated. We knew about the ruling. We just forgot we were negated. We forgot. Dora getting negated from searching for our limited to 1 Chandra potentially, or the Genroku. Negate. And then, well, we're trolling with the other effect, but you could still feel out maybe a delay by activating the other effect, so it's not exactly trolling. Now, we do have a lot of disruption still. We got Imperm, Droplet, and a Droll. Woo! Musketeer loves to see all this back row because it states, special summon magical muskets with different names up to the number of back row cards your opponent controls. I could summon up to 3 bodies. Now, of course, we're going to just negate this. But it's definitely eating up that negate. Negate. Can you imagine, though, if we had, let's say, our own Droplet? Droplet could send the max to dodge the impermanence, then the other Droplet and Imperm would be no good, and we'd be summoning a bunch of bodies in the field. So I would guess that Droplet would be really good with Musketeer Max to ensure it goes through, right? What other card would be good with that? We have Requiem into the Engraver after the, wow, you know, the Max eats a disruption, then you just turn it into the Fiendsmith plays. Perfect. Great synergy. We're going to be banishing with the Druiswarm. To battle we go. Nothing good on using our Imperm or Droplet on as we now main phase 2 into the sequence. This is a good Imperm. You're going to want to Imperm this. Yup. Negate. Do not let them fuse away into a Wave King Caesar. No bueno. Now, our Triple Tactics talent is no good. They have not been activating any monster effects within our main phase, unfortunately. And our Cash Tier Birth is also useless. We got the Silhouette Rabbit into a negate. You're not going to grab the Azure Rune, mate. Negate. Now, with an Ash, we're probably going to win this no matter what they top deck into. The Silhouette Rabbit was just going to be additional Oh my Jesus. You cannot Ash in the damage step. So you want to make sure you make all of your plays within the damage step. Dumage step, summon a Fadra, can't Ash. Fadra is going to, we're going to be synchroing. Okay. Unfortunately, the Chandra would have died to the Rabbit if we were to summon the Pydra, which would activate at the start of the damage step to grab a Kaiman. And then if we activate Kaiman outside the damage step, then the Ash Blossom would negate it. To play around that, if your Chandra would have lived with the Pydra and Chandra, you would want to make a Meteor Burst Dragon, which, am I not seeing it in your extra deck? You don't play it. Otherwise, you'd make a Transcendent Dragon, Transcendent, and then you'd activate Kaiman where the Ash cannot negate it. You don't play Meteor, bro? What the? Chandra, Reborn. But this is the other play. If and also the Rabbit can't be destroyed by battle, by the way. That's just its illusion effect. As you now make a Ruddy Rose Dragon. Ruddy Rose is going to be activating to have the very simple effect of banish all cards from every graveyard. Banish! Everything. Everything's got to go. Goodbye to the entire Fiendsmith engine. Damn, that Rabbit soaked up so much damage. Not being destroyable by battle. Actually a pretty good card to have on the field against Tenpai. Wow. A 1500 damage buffer per attack. We're going to Hieratic Seal, attempt to... Now, this is very smart. By banishing the Hieratic Seal before the chain resolves, it's not going to activate its effect to summon a Tenpai from the deck. You want to chain a DD Crow, chain a Bystial. This is the way. Now, normally, you're not fortunate enough to chain a Bystial to the Hieratic Seal because it would be the only body on the field, thus it would not be activatable as a quick effect. Yes, good play, great. No summon from the deck. As the Magna Hut gets returned back, Triple Tactics Talent, yoink the Chandra to our hand. No way, you're boosting the win rate of Typhon? Wow, Typhon actually just won a duel. Lethal damage. Usually this card is plan D and you lose. You never win with this. 1-in-1, let's hop into game 3. Oh, look at Calamity. What the heck did she do? We are special summoning Unicorn into searching for birth. We don't want to waste an imperm on you. Calamity apparently is not good enough to activate birth behind, so we're going to summon our Musketeer Max, as the Max is now going into the Requiem. Requiem is going to be summoning into our 5th body, ready to get Nibiruing. As we now make our sequence. Now, we're going to have to really think, do we even want to imperm, or do we want to just literally wait for the end of their main phase to then, whatever their field is, we can Nibiru, chain imperm onto their Wave King Caesar or Apollo for a full field wipe. We're going to try to get away with not Nibiruing. We're going to try to hold on to the Nibiru as we're going to imperm early. Imperm negates. Sure. Engraver, I mean, I think we're going to have to use both either way, right? You're fearing an Apollo USA, which cannot be summoned because we don't play it. Interesting. Silahat Rabbit went through. Wow. We did not stop the Azurune. And we get to draw 2. I could draw 4. I could draw 2 and then draw 2 again, or it would be better look at the hand. Now, I guess we don't care about the Silahat Rabbit setting up the back row because we do have the Heavy Storm Harpy Feather Duster. Ooh, we got double Veiler, return back the Dora. Now this deck is filled to the brim with 1-card combos. Azurune early. We are going to want to Heavy Storm, wipe 8 up. We do have the Chandra for our big 1-card combo, which the Veiler can negate within the main phase. Wipe it up. Where's the cow? No cow in that animation. Veiler within the end of the main phase. Nicely done. Now, what do you do here when they do that? You make a Hida, you steal their fire, you then reborn it with a Promethean Princess. Is there a fire in the grave? I'm scared to check, but they do have a Veiler anyway. Another one. No fire, no fire, no fire. No fire in grave. Now, if we had a Lina, we could have made Lina reborn a light, and Lina could be more relevantly used now because of Fiendsmith cards, right? Lina into Promethean, Reborn Chandra, and we'd have game. Straight up. If we have room for that, that is. This means we want to go into a Little Knight. Use Striker Dragon just for the Little Knight, just to get the banish on summon. Veiler, negate. Ain't no way, mate. You are not going to banish my Engraver. I will have the follow-up play. Negate. Uh-oh. Engraver is big enough by itself to just take out the Little Knight. That's it. Return back. She does eat up our battle phase, though. Eat the battle phase. That is relevantly enough to point out how good that is. We're not going to be losing right away. Now, we can be confident that that one card in the hand is not very good. So if we just put up at least one good disruption to stop a good top deck, then we should be good, right? What is going to stop no matter what they top deck into? We have Seek. I guess Desiree is going to stop. Uh-oh. Actually, Harpy Feather Duster goes even with Desiree if we were to do that. So one Desiree is not enough. Harpy would force Desiree to negate, and then their top deck. Lars? What the Lars? Is Lars good enough? Let's read this. When your opponent activates a card or effect, detach 2 to negate that card after targeting it. Yup, no matter what you top deck into, we'll negate it. Imperm. Well, that was not very good. 7,800 life. Let's see if we could lethal this. Surely we can. If we could at least deal 6,600 damage, we can have Lacrima finish them off. Yes? Sequence equipping. You up, mate? 4,900 damage? Oh my goodness. Imperm could go even with Lars, and then they could full wombo combo as long as it doesn't lose to an Ogre. Uh-oh. We just gave Tenpai another turn? Oh, it's no good. Forbidden Droplet. We could reduce the damage by half. Half of 49 is gonna be enough, right? Half of 55, send both of our back rows for a double negate, mate. Ain't no way. But they are in lethal range of Lacrima. So let's sequence Lacrima. Let's get, oh, there it is. Yep, Lacrima is in there. Okay, yeah, sure. Chainlink block the Lacrima burn. Lethal damage. Damn. Lacrima's a game ender. Lacrima is ending so many duels today. It is nuts. That is the top 16 YouTube. If you make sure to stay tuned for the next video, which will be the top 8 grand finale and top deck list, we will be starting off with Heroes. Heroes against the best deck in the game. Snake Eye Fiendsmith, are you ready for that? I'll see you in the next one. Let's go.